Alright, hey guys.
How you doing?
This is Anthony. How you guys doing? Getting ready for my next project. And like I said, the first few projects are going to be for the gun nuts, like me. So this one is going to be, we just got done doing two pistol mounts and a rifle mount. The pistol mount video should be up later on today. This one is going to be another pistol mount, but differently. So what I'm going to do is flip it up like that. It's going to sit on the countertop. And I have the gun sitting right here and two magazines that will sit right here. Instead of putting the rods in it like the other ones, I actually ordered a pistol holder, I guess. It goes up and it's like a little rod, and that's what they hold the pistols in. So that's what will be connected to this. So this will just be strictly a background piece. I'm thinking about this chocolate plum. It's I don't know if you can. It's super pretty. I don't know if it's gonna be, if someone's gonna say, "Oh, that's not masculine enough," but I mean, it's a beautiful color. Women carry guns too. All right, well, let's get her going. Got to get her sanded, and let's turn these two ugly chunks of wood into something gorgeous. Let's get going. All right, nice and sanded. And let's let me cut these ends real quick. There we go. Just want to straighten up those lines. All right, so next is the burn room. So let's go. All right, we are in the burn room. I already got these pre-wet, so they should start burning pretty good. This will be my third time burning this wood right here, or my fourth time, and it burns beautifully. And this one is going to also have the black and the color going through it. It's just one of my favorite styles. I really like it. All right, so let's get her going. done with what we're doing. Now let's go back to the shop. All right, here's the next step. The board's already nice and dry. Got my blacklight system set up. And let's get this cleaned out and start getting her painted. I did this design on a rifle stock, multicolor, just like this, color and then black background. I think I still have a picture. If I do, I'll put it up there. But they turn out gorgeous. They are gorgeous. They I hand burn, I burn them fractally like this, and then I'll go through and hand paint them. But with them, I'll actually, once I hand paint it, I'll fill that whole crack up with the epoxy. That way it's flat. Then I'll sand that down to a nice small grit. And then I'll add, I think it's called True Gun or something like that. It's an oil that just brings your gun. It looks so glossy and nice. It's beautiful. I'll definitely look for a picture so I can put one on for you guys to see why I love this design so much. All right, so we're gonna hand paint these. You know the drill. We gotta keep it super clean. All right, got that one done. This one right here is, I'm not gonna paint it. I'm just gonna leave it with the black lines. Then again, who knows? I never know what I'm doing when I start working on something. I just start working on stuff. I don't really have plans. I just come in my shop and look around and I just start building stuff. And this is all extra wood that I got because this a lot of my projects I like to use refurbished wood. So this is really beautiful chunk of wood, but there was just really nothing to do with it. So I made a couple of knife holders with it. Those turned out beautifully. I actually have one video on there. It's the one that stands up. It's I have them where they hold multiple knives, and then I just have ones that just hold one knife, and it's just like super decorative, your beautiful knife that you love the most. It's very gorgeous. It's very gorgeous. This wood turns out to be really good, really nice looking compared to how it looked when we first started. All right, let's sand her down just a tad bit, and so we can get all this sanded down a little bit. About all we need for that. All right. I don't know. I'm debating on this one right here because it's going to sit like this. So do I want it to look, I want it to have color. Or do I want it to just be a nice, elegant piece? I'll find out as we go. So right now, let's do this. I hope no one's gonna give me a hard time and say, "Ew, that's a girl color." Girls like guns too. And you know what? Everything's always beautiful when it's done. That's the color it's gonna be. I already have a blue, a green. Now we're gonna do a beautiful, what's this one called? Chocolate plum. Very beautiful colors. These are chameleon powder, so it's like the color and like super shiny part of the color. It's really cool. All right. Epoxy time. I better close my doors first. Thinking about the epoxy, if I have sunlight coming in here, it'll harden the epoxy because it's UV activated. So this board that I'm doing right here will be burnt another time. It'll be burnt again. All we're doing right now is just getting the color part done. All right. It's sort of the beautiful color. That's the only thing about seeing stuff on the camera is you just can't you can't appreciate it as much until you see it in real life. Then you're just like, man, that's really gorgeous. That's why I get excited when my projects are done, because I'm just like, man, these are beautiful. Especially when I turn old, ugly pieces of wood, like this piece. So I had two of these pieces, long, 4 foot. I turned one into a rifle stand. I turned two into pistol wall mounts. And this was gonna be a pistol mount for a desk or whatever. This, I was able to get 3 really nice knife holders out of these. This is the last chunk of the wood. This is the last chunk of this wood. They were started together, so let's finish them together. And all right, I got my epoxy. Got my epoxy nice and mixed up. One thing you want to make sure is oh wait. Oof, I almost forgot, guys. I almost forgot. This is the most important part. You have to clean the grooves out with alcohol. You don't want any dust at all in that thing, because if there's any dust, then it doesn't matter how many layers you put on, it won't stick. And I use alcohol because it, for one thing, cleans it, and another thing, it dries really fast. So remember, this is a very important part. What's up, buddy? Trying to make sure I keep everything in scene. I'm still super new to this, guys. I don't even have any equipment. I'm still doing it on my phone. I actually just found this shop light just a few minutes ago, so now I actually have light. Put down the alcohol so it dries a little faster. Yeah, because if there's any kind of dust in there, it will not stick, and you want it to stick. Because if not, it will literally start peeling off. The first time when I was first doing this, experimenting with this UV epoxy colored like this, I was filling up the grooves. And what was happening was the top was getting super hard. But after a while, you know, the bottom was still liquid, so it would just pop off. So then I learned that I figured out I had to do layers, which, I mean, I'm gonna use the air to kind of speed it up. All right, guys. I wonder if there's a way to see if I can zoom you guys in. Nope, I can't. All right, I'll just color and bullshit. Color and bullshit. This is a really pretty color. It really is. I hope a man's not gonna look at it and be like, not for me. I mean, this isn't the gun hobby is not a man or a female hobby. I mean, it's everybody, even kids. I've been around, well, as my adult life, I've been around guns my whole entire adult life. And so have my kids. And I taught them the rules about gun safety and how to never touch them. And I've never had a problem with my kids. Now they're adults. I got one getting ready to move to Louisiana. But that makes me a little sad, but I mean, she's going to be 24, so really nothing I can do about that. Yeah, but just paint her on. This, let's see how far this, I'll paint all the way to this line right here. And if you find a spot where there's too much, just wipe it out. You don't want it. Like I said, it will not harden all the way to the bottom if it's too thick. This is the tough part about trying to pick a color, especially if you don't know what the wood's gonna look like when you're finished with it. But that's the fun part about wood. I love to grab an old looking piece that looks like garbage, like literally like this one. And you'll see from the beginning of the video, and then you'll see at the end of the video how much that ugly piece of wood changed. So what I'm gonna do right here is, since there is a little crack right there, I'm gonna fill it up a little bit, and then I could epoxy over it later, or put some color over it later. All right, I've got my light. Put the light on for 2 minutes. I know I always say this, it might be a little overkill, but you want those to be on there good. When I paint the clear, it will, it'll dry really fast because it goes all the way through it. But when I first started doing this, this right here, I was using my wife's fingernail hardener just for proof of concept to see if it would actually work. And it did. So I bought these two off Amazon, and I basically just disassembled them or not disassembled them, just built a box and assembled them. Now I have a UV box that I could do all kinds of thicknesses of wood, and it's pretty wide. I mean, if you want to get into the UV epoxy, this is a perfect little device. I'm thinking about building a 4'1" for bigger projects, but I don't really hand paint bigger projects. But I would like to be able to hand paint a whole entire project and harden at the same time instead of waiting on this thing. This is nice and all, but it's small. It only does small portions. So I can go this way if it fits, but this wood's a little too wide, so it won't fit that way. So it's just about ready. All right, gotta do the fingernail test. No. Not ready yet. I need to get a timer out here so I can know exactly my 2 minutes. Yeah, see, if I don't check it, you got to do a fingernail test. That's what I do. I scratch the where the burn is, and if you touch it and there's any kind of ooze or anything, it wasn't long enough. I did not have it on here long enough. I do 2 minutes. Like I said, I don't think I waited 2 minutes. But with the clear, it literally takes a fraction of that time. But so when this is finished, I'm gonna get another coat put on. I'm gonna put another coat on it because you always want to do 2 coats of the color, and you always want to do 2 coats of everything, because I've done projects where I've just done one. Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about. All right, let's try this out. Okay. All right. Let's get her painted one more time. And then this side will be done. Yeah, see, right there. I missed these 2 spots. Look at that. See what I mean? Very easy. Very easy to miss spots. That's what the second coat is for. What is it? Let's get that. Let's say that's good right there. And all right, let's another 2 minutes. All right. Let's get this finished up, and I'll get right back to you. All right, got this all done. I went ahead and did this one too. I wasn't gonna do it, but I had a little extra left, so I decided to. And I already cleared the epoxy, or the burns too, with the clear epoxy. All right, let's go. Let's do the funnest part of every project. Sanding. Well, at least we have a machine and not use our hands. Okay, so I'm gonna use a little higher grit to sand this down, just enough to get this the epoxy down a little closer to the wood. I don't want to go all the way down with it for two reasons. Because I'm going to resand it again, and if this is already super sanded, it's just going to erase everything the rest of the way. So I use a higher grit just to get rid of this, the thicker epoxy. And then when it gets down to the lines, I'll use a 120 grit to finish it off. All right, let's get her going. All right, fun's time over. See how I still left some on there? If I were to clean that up with this higher grit, it would literally just erase every line in there. So this one's ready for the other sanding. And let's go back to the burn room. Get this bad boy burnt one more time. All right, she's all burnt up, nice and dried out. Let's do some scraping. If you're gonna do this type of a design, you absolutely have to have a variac with you, because that way you can really push that power very little bit so you don't melt all the plastic when you get up to it. When you watch me burn, you'll see it flare up. So what I'm trying to do is just get a deeper burn. You can't do that too long though, because you'll blow the fuse out of your thing. Well, hopefully I get better and better at these videos. Figure out which way I need to aim my phone camera until I can get equipment to actually do a full, a legit looking channel. I just found my shop light, my big one. So that's why in the middle of the video, that's why I have light all of a sudden. Because I didn't have any at the beginning of this video. Alright, that looks good to me. Let's get her a little quick little cleanup sand. Put the bigger grit back on because I'm going to need it. You can use whatever grit you want that's just higher, like 80 grit, that works. Alright, oh, we gotta get, cannot forget, guys, cannot forget. When I say this is the most important part, I mean it's the most important part. The air can only blow out so much. This will actually scrape out whatever dust is in there, and then it'll dry really fast because it's alcohol. You want this char to be super clean, just like I always say, because if that char is just a little dirty, that epoxy will not stick. Doesn't matter how long you put it under the light, it's just not gonna work. So you see like how there's like chunks and stuff still? That prevents the thing from burning all the way through. So that's one reason why I do that. And another reason is I'm gonna sand this again. I don't wanna sand the first layer completely flat, because then when I sand the second layer, it's gonna start erasing the first layer, and I don't want that. All right. Put that down. And get the air gun to clean out. All right. There she is, nice and cleaned up, ready to go. Now let's get what we need. Get our epoxy going. I already have a little bit in here from when I did the other board off camera. The thing about this stuff is when it's warm, it comes out really easy. But you can't put it in the sun because whatever's on there will literally harden. All right. Let's go. This clear epoxy will dry a lot faster. Doing the color epoxy always takes, it still takes a few hours. I mean, an hour or so, depending on your project size. Just because if you're doing color, because it just takes so long. Because you gotta do layer after layer. This is the way it was meant to be, just clear. And just like the first one, I'm not painting in the lines, I'm just painting. That's why I didn't sand this completely flattened, because I knew I was going to be needing it anyway. Alright, let's we will be routing these next when they're done, so that'll be fun. Actually, the paint to about right there. Like I said, this layer could be a lot thicker. It could be as thick as you want, because the light will go through it. It's the color. All right, let's go. Let's paint. Let's get that under the light. 2 minutes. Whew. So this one's done. I just gotta finish sanding it, and then we're gonna route it, and then we're gonna figure out where I'm gonna set this on here. Get the bottom of that cut off. Get some holes drilled. Get some holes for the magnets, because there's gonna be 2 magnets to hold 2 magazines. Uh-oh. That's got wet epoxy on there. If you get this epoxy on your hands, just use rubbing alcohol. It'll come right off. That's how I clean my brushes, everything with this stuff. I just use rubbing alcohol. But like I said, you got to be careful if you have sunlight coming in, because see that brush? See how it's flat like that? If the sun hit that, it would harden that way. And then I'm screwed. Then I got to go find another paintbrush. But Well, I said 2 minutes, but on the clear we don't need to do 2 minutes. It's because it's clear. It doesn't, the color you gotta do the layers, the clear you don't have to. So this will just take a minute or so. I know it could be done a lot faster, but I feel like a minute is safer than like saying 30 seconds. So even though it says instant hardening and it does hard instantly, let's check that out. Okay, it's actually hard now. All right, let's flip her around. Let's get this side going. The big reason why I like to do this is cleaning. Whenever you got grooves of anything, dust always likes to settle in there. So putting this clear on it makes it so you could wipe it clean. Especially if they're going to be mounts that are going to be sitting there, not moving. You don't want them to be just sitting there collecting dust without this on there, because it will be hard to wipe clean. And I normally don't paint the grooves, but I have been doing that a lot lately, and I kind of like it better than, because usually I just saturate these grooves with whatever I'm using until it stays shiny, because it can't suck up anymore. But doing this, it always stays shiny. I don't have to worry about that. So I like that. I like that aspect of it. But just about done with this guy, and move on to the next step. Like I said, this could be a little thicker. It's gonna harden all the way through. Plus, it's also an excuse for me to use up the rest of this resin. Orale, let's get it on. All right, it's all done. That's what she looks like before we get her sanded. Now let's do the same thing, the aggressive grit to get this sanded down. Try not to hit any of this stuff. And then we'll finish it off with a lighter grit. Let's get her going. All right, finally got her done. So now it's, let's get this out of the way. We won't be needing that for a while. Get this loud ass air compressor. All right, just like when we clean the black char, that's how we get the dust out. Use your nylon brush, dip it in alcohol, clean it all up. The nice thing about this too is it also shows you what it's gonna look like. You see that? gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful. But you see all the, notice that all the gaps are full of dirt and stuff, and as soon as you get this on there, damn, everything just pops. Like I said earlier, you just can't appreciate it over the camera like you can in real life. I try to take the best pictures I can. I'm not a photographer, barely even a YouTuber. This is gonna be my 4th video. I just finished my 3rd video project today. So hopefully I'll have that edited all out and put on there tonight. Man, one thing I noticed about trying to do videos like this is, man, that editing really can take a long time. I hope it's just because I'm new at it, but took me forever to edit my first video, my first full-length video. My first video was just a job that I just had to finish. So there wasn't really a video for it. So I was trying to do TikTok live and stuff, and nothing was, it just wasn't worth it. So I'm gonna come back over here to YouTube and let's give you guys a try again. I did have a channel before. It was a grow channel, but I don't grow no more, so I don't have a grow channel. But I did turn that channel into a different channel. But I think since it was a growing channel, I didn't really do nothing on it. I got age restricted on it, so that's why I'm wondering if that's why that's not going as planned because of that. But damn, this base is gonna be gorgeous. I'm also recording on my phone diagonal, so I really hope I didn't fuck this whole thing up. And clean up like this. Now it's time to get routing. Forgot about that part. All right, well, let me go get these routed out real quick, and we'll be right back. All right, got them nice and routed. Still got to sand them. I got this piece cut flat. Get her sitting on there like that. All right, the next step is let's get some magnets put in this right here. I already cut it flat, and I drilled a couple holes. Didn't want to bore you with that. So let's move to the other table so we can get these magnets in. Well, let's do this first. So this is pretty much done. It's already routed, it's sanded, it's flattened. So let's get this one coated. And just look at the color of this wood and wait till it's done. Now look at that. Is that gorgeous or what? Yeah. back doesn't need a whole lot, just enough to kind of buff it up. All right, well, there's the top piece. Now we just gotta wait for it to do its thing. Let's move on to this part. Ooh, sorry about that. Greasy. A little on the greasy side. Okay. I had to, there was a hole right here I had to fix yesterday. And I have this, it's a black super glue with a spray, and it works really good on the darker woods. So let's go get these 2 holes drilled out for the magnets. I already got them marked. Let's just go cut them out now. All right, got the 2 holes put in. Let's go back to the other table. All right, now that we're back to the table, let's get the magnets. They fit in there pretty good. That was a little deep, but that's fine. But I do want to round these pieces out though. So they're not so sharp. All right, let's get this one fed and wicked. Feed and wicked. This color that I picked is pretty cool looking. Probably do is take close-up pictures of my projects when they're done so you guys can have a better look at them. Because I'm literally still, look, I probably wasn't even on the screen the whole time. I'm still so new to this, it's ridiculous. I edited a video last night. It took me 2 hours. I was like, holy crap. It took a long time. But it was mainly just having to watch it over and over. But yeah. All right. There's that. Just got to wait for them to finish with the soak. And then we will connect them together. All right, let's get them wiped down, buff them up a little bit. All right, let's start getting her assembled. Let's start with this bottom. Get some magnets put in. These are going to hold the magazines. time to find out where we're gonna put this piece. This is what the gun sits on. So let's get this on here, see where that's gonna sit. That way we can get the gun sitting right in the right spot. Right about there looks good. Let's get some dots made. I am getting better and better with this setup. I'm getting better things. Like I got a light now. I got this stand in a better spot. I rebuilt this little area so we can see better. Where did all my dots go? My dots just disappeared on me. Every one of them. All right, let's. About there. Might just have to drill holes. Oh, shit. All right, let's get this bad boy put on, and then we'll get this put on, and she will be done. I'm gonna need a long. I'm gonna have to get a longer drill bit so I can get down all the way. Come on, buddy. Man, they make these so you can't lose them, but they also make it so you can't fucking use them either. Damn. Oh, you motherfucker. Back in there. All right, let's get this back part set up. These are at the height that I need them at, so this will help get the holes lined up. Let's get this together. edge of the table so I can put my holes.